Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm back with very exciting project today. We will be doing a ELT project today. ELT stands for extract, load, transform, right? The traditional project that we do are ETL projects, right? So if you have done my previous project on my YouTube channel, let me quickly show you the diagram. So this is the diagram of my previous project where we downloaded data set from a Kaggle API, right? And did data cleaning, pre-processing, everything in Python. Once the data is processed, then we loaded the data into SQL Server and did some data analysis, right? So this is extract, transform in Python itself, and then load the data to SQL Server. Now today we are going to do ELT. ELT means we will use Python just to extract the data, right? We are not going to do any pre-processing or anything. We will directly load raw data into SQL Server, and all the data cleaning, data modeling, transformation we will do in SQL itself, right? We will make use of Python to do some analysis, but all the transformation cleaning we are going to do in SQL Server, and from raw layer to staging layer, the final layer, we will load the data, the clan data, right? After doing all the pre-processing, creating new tables, data modeling, data transformation, and then we will do analysis on that. We will have again 5 questions, so you can follow along with me step by step. I will start from very beginning. So it will be a very good project because you will get idea of lots of things, lots of concept, lots of new functions in SQL. So it is a good exercise. You can create a portfolio project as well. You can also create this project and put it on LinkedIn and tag me. I will put my LinkedIn ID in the description box, right? So you will also get reach. Okay, or it's a great way to create your brand value, your create your brand on LinkedIn. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use API this time. I'm going to download directly from the Netflix. For your project, you might want to use API, so you can refer to my previous project again in the description box. I will put everything, so you can use that API to download data from Netflix. But for this project, I have directly downloaded from this link. I will share this link where we have Netflix movies and TV shows data, and I will directly read in the Python using pandas. So this is my notebook, right? I'm reading this file. Now instead of this, you can use Kaggle API, right? And then I'm connecting to my SQL server. This is my SQL server details. Again, if you want to know how this works, refer to my previous project video. And then I'm loading into SQL server. This is my Netflix raw table, right? And I don't want index in my table, so index equal to false, and I want to create a new table. So I'm saying if exist equal to replace. Okay, I hope this is fine. So I'm going to run all of this one by one. Okay, so this is done now. Data is loaded. Let's go to the SQL server and see do we have this table created and what the data look like. So I will refresh the tables and we'll see if the Netflix raw table is created. So if I go down, this is the Netflix raw table created. So let's look at the data quickly. Select star from Netflix underscore raw. Okay, so let me run this. So we have the data, right? We have 8807 rows, right? Let's see if all the rows are inserted or not. So I will just go back here, and we have the data frame here. So let's check the length of the data frame. It is 8807. So all the rows are there in my table. Now there are few things that we have to take care of. One is if you just see all the titles. So I will just do order by title and execute this. So if you see here, there are some question marks coming, right? The data is not coming properly. Now we need to find out why it is like this. So let's see. This is the show ID S5023, right? We will see in Python what is the title here. Is it question mark actually, or while loading into database it has become some junk characters, right? So let me go back here, and what I will do, I will say df, and the column name is title, right? And I'll just check what is the value of show id. Sorry, I have to do on show id, my bad. Show underscore id, and this has to be this, right? And I will say get me all the data for this show id. Okay, so if you see, these are some other characters. I think it is a Korean movie, so it may be a Korean language or something, right? Now, our data type of this column, which gets created automatically, is varchar. So if I go here, you will see this is varchar, right? The title is also varchar, everything is varchar, right? So now the problem is varchar cannot contain these foreign characters. So what we will do, we will create a table again, empty table, right, where we will keep it as n varchar. N varchar can contain foreign characters. That is first thing. Second thing is, if you see, everything is max. Max is around 65,000 something. So this is not good for performance. If you run any query on this table, it is going to take a lot of time, because everything is varchar. If you do distinct or you do sort, it will take a lot of time, right? So what we will do, we will create an empty table and insert the data. Instead of replace option, we will use the append option while importing data into SQL. So what we will do, I'll take the definition. So I have already taken the definition of this. So this is the definition, right? Now what we will do, we will change the data types. So first of all, we know that title has some foreign characters, so I will change it to n varchar. Now, second thing, we need to find what length I should keep, right? So, since I said if I run any queries on this table, it will take a lot of time. I will do some analysis in Python, right? That what is the maximum length we have to keep for show ID, what is the maximum length we should keep for type, and accordingly, we will create our raw table. So, I'll just go back here again, and what I will do, so for example, I will say df dot show underscore id, right? And I will change it to a string object and take length of it. Okay, so it will give me length of every row. So two length, five. So for example, if we come here, you see the length is 5, so it is telling the length is 5, and then I will say max. So I will know what is the maximum length of show id column. So it says 5. So if it is 5, for safe side I can keep 10. It is okay, right? The next is type. So let's see what is the maximum length of type. So it says 7. So we will again keep 10, right, for the safe side. And next one is title. So I will repeat it for every column, right? So let me do it quickly. It says 104. So we will keep around, let's say, 200. Title can be big, right? Next is director. Director is 208. So again, I will keep it 250 for have some buffer. And then cast, we will learn one more thing here, so just keep on watching it. If you see cast is here none, right? So whenever null value is there, it is picking that as max value, right? All the values are not null. So what I will do, I will drop null value. So I will say drop na, right? And after that, I will convert it to string object and take the length and maximum of it. Now it says 771. So the cast column is 771. I will just keep it as 1000. Okay. Now next country, I can always drop null values. It is absolutely fine. So I'll just keep it now for all the columns 123. So let's keep it 150, right? And then we have date added. Date added is 19, so let's keep it 20, because date added is will be constant. We are not going to change date format or something. It is fine. Release year, let's change it to int instead of big int, right? And then we have rating. So let's go to the rating. It is 8, let's keep it 10, right? Then we have duration. Duration also will not be a big number, right? Big string 10, so let's keep it 10 only. It is not going to change. And then we have listed in. So let's quickly check listed in. It is 79, so I'll just keep it 100. And then description, again, it can be a lengthy one, right? So let me check. Okay, 248, let's keep it 500. Description can be really long. Okay, so this is my new table now. So I'm going to drop this table. Okay, and then I will create it again. Okay, so I'll just create again. Okay, so table is created now with proper data types. we may want to create a primary key, but we are not sure if there are any duplicates or not in show id, so we will do that, and later maybe we can change it to primary key. Okay, so what I will do now, I'll just go here and say append, because table is there already, empty table. So I'll just again run everything, run this, and now it will load the data. So it is loading. Okay, data is loaded now. Let's go back and check the data here. Okay, everything is loaded. We have 8807 rows, and let's check this show ID, right? Do we have Japanese characters coming or not? Okay, it has to be single equal to here. Okay, so we have the proper title coming in the Japanese characters. So this problem we solved it, right? Now we will move on and start working on the data cleaning part. Okay, now what I will do, I will write a query on Netflix raw table, my final clean query, and then I will create a final table out of it. Okay, I'm not going to run many update statements and all. I'll just clean data. I will write a query which cleans data on this table, right? And that query result we will move into the final Netflix table. Okay, so let's get started one by one. So we handle the foreign characters, right? Next is remove duplicates. So we have to see if there are any duplicates in the data, right? So this is done. This is done. Okay. So for remove duplicates, what I'm going to do is, so we will do this. Select star from Netflix raw, right? And we will see if there are any duplicates in the show ID first. So I'll do show underscore ID, comma, count star from Netflix group by show underscore ID having count star greater than 1, right? So if I go here, there are no duplicates, right? The show ID column is unique, right? So maybe we can create this as primary key as well. So I can just say primary key instead of null. I will say primary key, and what I will do, I will drop the table again and create again, because it is better to have a primary key. Okay, so I have run this, and I'll just run this again. So I'll create the connection and run this. So this is running now, and we have the primary key as well. So it will be better to write the queries now. Okay. So now going back, we have all the data. Let's run it again, and there are no duplicates. We know, but there might be duplicates. Select star from on the title, right? Even if it is a title, that's a duplicate for me. If there is a same title, right, in multiple rows, that is also a duplicate for me, right? So let's do this. So instead of show id, I'll check on the title. I'll just copy this, and I'm going to write here. I'll say title and title. Okay, and let's see, do we have any duplicates? So we have some duplicates. If you see on the title, we have some duplicates. And let's see what are these duplicates, right? At least. So what I will do, I'll just say select a star from Netflix row where title in, and all the title which have duplicates. Okay. So at least we will see they are exactly duplicates or not. So if you see, let me do order by title. Okay, so if you see that note, that note, these is in small caps, in capital, that is fine, because SQL Server handles them in a same way. But if you have a database where lower character and the capital character are different, what you can do this upper, so that you know the duplicates. and or you can do this title and group by upper. Okay, but in SQL Server it is all same, so it doesn't matter. Okay, because we have to put this also in upper, and here also we will put upper. Okay, so if I run this now, we have got all of this, right? Let me sort it by title. Okay, so if you see, the name is same, but one is movie show and one is movie and another one is TV show. So this is fine. This is not kind of duplicate, right? Because we can have a movie with the same name and TV show also with the same name. Now look at the other. Look at these two movies. These two look exactly same. Director is also same, right? So these are both the movies and title is also same. Similarly, if you look at this one, here one is movie show, one is movie and another one is TV show. So this is also fine. But this is a kind of duplicate again, right? And this is also kind of duplicate, both are TV shows, same name, right? So these duplicates we have to handle. So instead of checking only the title, we have to also check the type, that if it is a movie or if it's a TV show. If the duplicate is based on both, then we will remove it. So I'll just say here type. Okay, and I'll just run this. Okay, now first run this inner query. Okay, so we have only three duplicates now, right? These movies have duplicates because there are multiple rows of movies for this movie, again for this, again for this. So what I will do, I want to see this data now, right? To see this data, what we can do, we can append it, because in the in clause you can put only one column. So if you do this would not work in SQL Server. In some database, this will work, right? But in SQL Server, this doesn't work. So what you can do, you can concat these two. So you will say concat these two columns, and similarly concat here. Okay. And if you do this, so this is the data which is duplicate. So these two rows are duplicate, these two are duplicates, and these two are duplicate. So based on these two columns, I can say there are three duplicates, right? Now to remove these duplicates, I'll write a query. So I'll say select star from, so let me copy this, and I'll take a row number. So I'll say row underscore number over partition by title, right? You can change it to upper, but this is SQL Server. By default, it is case insensitive, so I'm fine with that, right? Title and also type, right? Order by show ID, right? And I will take only the first one. So I'll say with city as this, select star from city where rn equal to 1, right? So this way I will see only the unique values. The three duplicates will not be there, so we should have three less number of those. So if I just run this, okay, so if you see, we have 8804 rows. Earlier there were 8807 rows, right? 8807 rows. Now we have 8804 rows. 3 rows are less. So we have handled the duplicates. Okay. The next thing is very important. So if you see, there are columns, right? For example, director column for one movie can be directed by multiple directors, right? So they are comma separated values, right? Similarly for cast, they are comma separated, multiple cast are there, correct? Similarly, there are other columns, like for a movie can release in multiple countries, so you will have multiple countries, for example United States, South Africa, right? Also you have listed in, so these are the genre, that in which genre these movies listed in Netflix. It can be comedy, drama, so there can be multiple genre for one movie, right? So there are these columns where you have multiple values. Now doing analysis on these columns is difficult, because if I ask you that how many for in each genre I want number of movies, so it will be difficult, because drama and international movies are in a same column value, right? So I need this separately, right? Because there will be a movie which is only drama, so those should be grouped together. So this way it doesn't work. So what we will do, we will create a separate table, right? We will create a separate table for these and have these values in a different rows. Okay, so let me show you for one. Okay, so for director, let's say, so what I will do, I'll just select star from Netflix raw, right? And I will say, so what I need show id, right? For each show id, who are the directors, right? And then I will say cross apply, cross apply string split. I'll tell you what it is doing. String split, and the column name is director, and value is, we have to split by comma, right? So if I run this now and I'll take value, so this will give me a value, and I will say value as Janner. Okay, so if you see here, right, if there is a movie where we have more than one director, so for example this one, right, so this is in two different rows. Now I can use this table and join with the original table and do all of my analysis, right, because I have the director name in separate row, right? Another thing is, after comma there was a space, so in the name space is coming, so I can just do a trim so that there are no white spaces. Okay, sorry, it is not genre, it is a director, my bad. Okay, so if I just run this, you will see we have the proper data, right? So what I will do, I'll create a new table and I will say into Netflix directors, right? So I've created a new table now, Netflix directors, and it has 6978 rows, and that's it, right? So if I just check select star from Netflix directors, I have the proper clean data, right? Similarly, you can do for all of that. I'm going to do for country as well because that will be used in our analysis. Similarly, we will be doing listed in as well, right? And for cast also we can do. So let me do it quickly. It won't take much time. I have to just replicate this one, or let me change here itself, right? I don't have to create multiple queries. So I'll just say country. Right, and show id, against each show id I need country, and this will be as country, right? And again the table name has to be Netflix underscore country. So if I just run this, it has created, right? Similarly I can create for cast, so let me do it. So I'll say cast, cast, and cast. Okay, so this will create a new table again for cast, and then we have listed in, right? So I'll just take listed in as well. So, or let's call it genre. This is also genre, and this will be listed in. Okay, so if I just run this now, this is also done. So I'll just query this quickly. So we have the, for each show we have the different genre, we have trimmed the data and everything is fine, right? So we have now four tables created. I'll just refresh it and show you all the tables are starting with Netflix, so we can see all the tables. So if you see here, we have the Netflix cast, country, director, genre, and Netflix raw, right? All of the tables are there, and we will use it for our analysis. Okay, now what is next? Next thing is data type conversion. So for instance, if you see our Netflix table, right, and there is a column date added, right? So this date added is a varchar. So what we will do, we will convert that into a, into what, date. Okay, so what I will do, so this is my query, right? In this query there are a lot of columns, so we will take whatever columns are required. Show id is required, right? So I'll take show id. Type, what is the type of movie? It is movie or TV show, right? So if I go here and if I just say df dot head, you see there are two kinds of things, either it is movie or TV show, right? So I'm saying give me this column as well, I need this column. Okay, now next is title, so I need title as well in my final table, right? So I'm taking title. What else I need? Director. Director I don't need because I have created a separate table for director. I can join on show ID and get the director details. So I'm not going to take director in my main table, right? Or my transaction table, you can say. Similarly, caste I'm not taking, right? Because we have a separate table. For country also we have a separate table, right? Now for date added, I want to convert it to a as date. I want to convert it to a date as date added. Okay, then after that we have release year. So release year we want, so in a way we drop these columns, right? Drop these columns from this table, right? We are not using drop command, but when we are creating a final table we are not taking those columns, right? And let's go further. And after release year we have rating, so rating is also fine. And we have duration, which is also fine. We want in this table. Listed in, again we have a separate table, so listed in is not required. And we will take description. Okay, so these are the things we need. But before we go further, let's see what else we have to do. So we converted it to a date added, to a date data type, right? What else we want to do? We want to populate missing value, so we will see this as well, right? And drop columns, director, listed, this is all fine, right? Now we have to handle missing values basically before we go to the analysis. Now first we have to check what are the missing values. So let's go back to the Python again, and here it is easy to find the missing value. So I will say df dot is na, right? So this will tell me that what are the null values in this, right? So it is returning false, true, false, right? Wherever it is null, it is returning true. Wherever it is not null, it is returning false. Now what we can do, we can say sum. So for each column, it will tell me that how many null values are there, because true is kind of 1 and false is 0. So if it is true, it means there is some null value. So when I do sum, it will give me for each column how many null values are there. So if you see for show ID, there are no null values. For type, title, director, there are 2634 null values. For caste also we have some null values. For country we have some null values and some of the other values. Now what we want to do, first of all, can we do something? Can we do some analysis and find out who will be the director? It will be difficult, right? So maybe we can download the data set, from internet and populate these values, but I'm going to keep as it is for now. But what we can do is we can populate the country. So whatever countries are null, right, for them I can populate some value. Let's move to SQL Server. And before I fill null values, I want to show you some behavior of the string split function. So here we want to populate the country, right? Where country is null. So these values we want to populate, right? So now if you see here, let's take for example. So for example, show S1001. Now let's see this show ID, how it is in the split table that we created a new table for the country show wise. Let's see how it looks like. So select star from Netflix, right? Netflix country, where show ID equal to this, right? What will happen to the show ID in this? So if you see the record is not there. So what happens when you do a string split? If there is a null value in a column, those rows are not coming at all, right? So those rows are not there, which essentially means for all of the show ID where country is null, I need to populate all those rows in this table, right? Because this table is the source of truth to find the country for each show, right? So what we will do for all of this, so I will say, for example, I will say select show ID country, right? If I do this, this will give me 831 rows. So these rows I need to populate in my Netflix country table, but not null. I have to do something so that I populate some value, right? So this is clear that we have to populate this. Now let's understand how we can populate these null values now. So let's look at the data again. Okay, let's look at the first director. So this is the director, right, where country is null. Okay, so I will say where director, sorry, let's do on the main table. So I'll say Netflix raw where director equal to this director. Okay, and let's run this. So if you see, this director has created two movies, right? One is null, which we were seeing, this S10001 that we saw earlier, right? But this one has the data. So we can assume that if we know that a director is creating in which country any movie, we can populate same country in other row as well, right? So if this director Ahish Hall is created at least one movie in India, we can say that other movies will also be in India, right? It is not 100% accurate, but for data cleaning, we can take this approximation, right? So what I will do, I will get all the combination of director and country which are available and use that as mapping to populate the null values, right? What I will do, I will say select star from, right, Netflix country, right? In this I have all the countries, right? So let me do this. Yeah, so I will call it NC, and I need the mapping of country and director, right? So I will say inner join Netflix directors nd on nc dot show id, right, equal to nd dot show id. Okay, and I will take only the director and country. So I will say director and country, right? And I want the unique values of this combination. So I'll say group by this. So this will kind of give me the combination of each director and in which country he has created a movie or TV show, right? So I have done distinct. If there are multiple values, I will get unique. Now here also it is possible one director has movies in different countries, so we will get multiple rows. So for example, I will say order by director, right? So if you run this and let's go down little bit. So if you see this director Aaron Sorkin, right, he has created movies in different countries. So if he has created any other movie, right, for which country is not known, we will consider that movie is released in all four countries, right? This is again approximation. We don't have any other option, right? So I'll use this as mapping. Now this is my mapping, so I'll just pull this, right? And here if you remember, we need show id and country from Netflix or where country is null, right? For what I will do here, I will do inner join, right, inner join our this mapping, right? This is my mapping. So I'll call it nr, and let's call it mapping on nr dot director, right, equal to mapping dot director, right? And then I will take country, m dot country. From mapping I am taking the country column, right, where which country is null, from nr dot this country is null. So wherever country is null, I'm picking all the show IDs, right? nr dot country is null, and then using the mapping table I will get this. So let me run this and show you quickly. Okay, so I got the mapping. There are 194 rows. There might still be some rows for which I don't have the answer. I don't have the country for some of the directors, because director can also be null, right? But at least something we got it, right? So I will just insert these values into Netflix. My bad, to Netflix country, right? So this will go, and now 194 rows are inserted. So now I have all the data, not all the data. I think still there will be some show for which I don't know the country, but at least whatever I could populate, I populated it. Right, now let's look at some other columns. If we can do something about duration, okay, let's see what is there in the duration. So this is done. Let's move on to the second thing on duration. So I will say, let me put a line here. Select star from Netflix raw where duration is null. Okay. So there are three records where duration is null, and if we look at it here, there is some problem, right? In the rating 74 minute, 84 minute, 66 minute, this is actually duration, right? It is not a rating. So there is some issue. So what we can do, wherever duration is null, we can say populate rating. Okay, this is not the right rating. Okay, so wherever duration is null, let's populate with rating, and I think that will do. So let's go to my original the query which I was developing. This is the query I was developing, right, where I converted date edit to date, right, and all of those different columns where we have comma separated value are in different four tables, so we are not taking those. And here I will say case when duration is null, sorry, duration, it is doing some auto completion, is null, then take rating, right, and as duration. Okay, if we want we can make this as null, but it is fine, rating column we are not using much, so it is fine. So let me run this query now. So we remove duplicates, we handled everything, right? So if I just run this, this is the data we have. Okay, so this is the data we have. Duration is coming as null for all of the record. I think something wrong we have written. Okay, then rating else. Okay, else is missing. Else duration itself. Okay, and this is my table. Okay, so this is my clean table and four more tables. So I have total five tables, right? So this is how it is looking like, right? Now wherever it is null, right, maybe we can populate with some not available or something. For example, if rating is null anywhere, right? So if we go to the this one, we have rating null, duration null, and we have date added also null. So for example, where rn equal to 1 and date underscore added is null, let's look at this data. Okay, so we have some data where data added is null. So if we want to populate with some default value, we can populate it, but I'm keeping it as null, right? Which is fine, absolutely fine. Now let's do what we have to do next. What I will do, this is my final table now, right? So I will just say into Netflix. So this is my final table, Netflix, or you can say stage or whatever you want to give name. So this query will run and will create a new table, Netflix stage, or I'm just calling it as Netflix. And this will be my final client table. Okay, so 8807 rows gone, and select star from Netflix, right? So this is my final table with everything in place, and wherever I need other columns where country, cast, directors, I can just join with those tables. Okay, so this data cleaning is done. Now we will move on to the data analysis, where we have to solve 5 SQL problems. Okay. So here are our 5 questions that we need to solve based on the clan data that we have created using the 5 tables. Okay, all 5 questions are interesting, so follow along with me. So first question is, for each director, count the number of movies and TV shows created by them in separate columns for the director who have created TV shows and movies both. Okay, so there are two things. First, we have to find the directors who have created the TV shows as well as movies, right? And for them we have to count that how many movies they have directed and how many shows they have directed. Okay, so our first table is also obviously Netflix table. In this table we have the type, that if it is a TV show or if it is a movie. Now who is the director, that we need to get from the director table. So I'll just say n inner join our director table. Okay, let's call it nd on n dot show id equal to nd dot show id. Okay, so this will give me director name as well. So I'll say n dot star, or let's take the columns which are required. So what I need show id, right? I need type, n dot type, right? And from the other table I need just the director name, right? I don't need anything else to answer this question. Okay, so we have everything available. Now what we have to do, we have to find directors. So if a director has created both movie and TV show, so the distinct values of type will be 2. So if I do this, comma, count of distinct t dot type, sorry, distinct n dot type. Okay, as distinct distinct type. Okay, so if I just run this and I have to do a group by director, right? For each director I am seeing how many distinct values of type are there, right? So for example, all of this is 2, but there will be some places where it is 2. So let me do a order by, just to show you, order by distinct type. Okay, so order by runs after select. That's why I'm able to use this alias in order by. So if you see, sorry, I have to do in descending order so that I can see on the top the director which has done both. So if you see 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So it means these directors around 83 have done both movies and TV shows, right? So what I have to do, I have to put this condition in the having clause. So I'll say group by this having count of distinct n type greater than 1, right? So it will give me those director, right? So this is first thing, 83 rows, right? Now I need the number of movies and number of TV shows created by them. So for now I don't need this, right? This is not required. I needed this for in the having clause only. Now I will create two more columns. I will say case when type, right? Type is coming from Netflix table, equal to movies, then show underscore id end. Okay, and I will just take count of this, count distinct as number of movies. Okay, so this will give me how many movies are created by a director who has created both. Okay, so n dot, this is an ambiguous column, so I have to give the table alias. Similarly for TV shows, I have to say where type equal to TV show. Okay, and then number of TV show. Okay, so this will give me whatever is required. Okay, so I'll just run this, and this is giving me number of movies and number of TV shows. So number of movies is coming as 0, so I think s is not there. So let me run this again. Yeah, now it is fine. Okay, so we are getting for these director how many number of movies and number of TV shows are directed for the directors who have directed both TV shows and movies. Okay, so this answers my first question. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Second question is, which country has highest number of comedy movies? Okay, so the countries with highest number of comedy movies. So first we have to find movies, right? Which have, for which genre is comedy. Okay, so if I do select distinct from Netflix genre, right? Distinct genre. Okay, so let's see what are the distinct genre and do a order by as well, so that I can find out how does comedy looks like order by genre. Okay, so this is my genre table, and if you see, this is comedies, so I have to filter on this. So I'll say select a star from Netflix genre, right? And let's remove this, this is not required. Where, let's call it ng, right? Ng dot genre equal to comedies. So this is first thing. So this will give me all the show IDs, all the show ID wherever genre is comedy. Now this will include TV show and movies both, but we want only movies, right? So we have to filter on movies. Also we need the country information as well. So what I have to do, I have to join it with inner join Netflix country, right? NC on ng dot show id equal to nc dot show id, right? And I will take the country here as well. So nc dot country, right? So this will give me country. So if I just run this, so again I have to provide ng dot, because show id is available in both the tables, so I have to provide the alias. Okay, so for each show id I am getting the country. Now what, this is a question, which country has the highest number of comedy movies, right? So for that I can just do what, I have already filtered on comedy movies, right? So for each country I can just do count of show id, right? Count of distinct show id as number of movies, right? But there is one more thing. We want to filter only on movies. For that, I will have to join with the Netflix table because here I don't know which is movie and which is TV show. So I will have to do one more join. So I'll say inner join Netflix and on ng dot again show id equal to nc dot show id, right? And I have to say where this is this and n dot type equal to movies, right? Because I'm interested only in movies, not in TV shows, right? TV show also can be comedy. So I want country has the highest number of comedy show, right? So if I just run this, so I will get, okay, I have to do this in group by this. And if I just run this again, this will give me number of comedy movies in each country, and I just do order by number of movies. Okay, and if I just run this, my bad, I have to do in descending order because I need the highest one. Okay, so this is a 685 movies in United States which are comedy movies, right? Which are comedy movies. And what I have to do now, I just have to say top one because I need the country with the highest number of comedy movies. So if I say top one, I will get just United States. Okay. So this is my answer. Let me explain again. I'm joining the genre table with country table on show ID. Why I'm doing that? Because I need the country. And genre table, I need to know which are the comedy movies, right? Comedy shows. So I filtered on comedy, right? And then joined on the Netflix country to get the country only for comedy movies, right? Now to filter movies, I have to join with Netflix because the type is available in that only. So that filter, and then I'm just doing grouping on country and count of distinct show ID. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Okay, let's move on to question number three. For each year, as per date added to Netflix, okay, which director has maximum number of movies released, right? So what does that mean? So let me again open the Netflix table. Okay, so here we have two dates. If you see date added and release year, right? So this is the actually release year when the movie was released. Now it might be released in the theater first and later it is added to Netflix. So this date added is when it is added to Netflix and this is when it was released actually. Okay, so we are interested in when it was added, right? So in this is the column that we have to use, right? Now we have to tell which director has maximum number of movies released for each year, right? How which director has number of maximum movie released, right? Now we need Netflix table to get the date added when it was added. We need the director information as well. So I will do inner join Netflix directors on and dot show id equal to nd dot show id. Let me call it nd. My bad. Okay, nd nd dot show id. Okay. Now what I need to do, so for each director has the maximum number of movies released in each year, right? So I need first of all the year. So I will say year from the date added. Okay, date year. Let's call it date year. So I'll get the year at least, right? Second thing, I need the director, right? I need the director. This will come from the ND. Okay, so from ND, I got the director. From here, I got this, and then I need the show ID. Show ID I will take from any table. So I will say N dot. Okay, this is the information I need to solve this question, right? So I'll just run this and I have all the information, right? This director, this date, year, and then show id. So what I have to do, in each year I have to find maximum number of movies released by each director. So what I will do, I'll take count of show id. So I'll say count of, I'm doing distinct because I'm joining the two tables. We might have duplicates, and that's why I'm doing it. And there won't be any duplicates, but just you just check if we need distinct or not, right? We can just verify the answer without distinct and with distinct. as number of movies and group by this. Okay, I'll take the this column later so that we get the proper sorted data. Okay, so this is what we need and group by these two things. So I'll just take this for each director each year how many movies were done, and let me do order by number of movies. So descending again so that we see some data. Okay, so for example, this director in 2021 had 17 movies, right? So we got that in each year, each director, how many number of movies were done, right? Now, let me remove this and check if we really need distinct. So it is giving me 17, 15, 12, 11, something like this, and it is same. So I don't think we need distinct because show ID is primary key, and I don't think we are going to have any duplicates, so it is fine, right? So now what I will do, I will create it as a CT with CTS. Okay, and I'll create a rank. So I'll say select star from CT, right? And here I will say row underscore number over partition by year, right? Because in each year I need director with highest number of movies. Partition by date year, order by number of movies descending as Rn, right? So this will create a ranking in each year for each director. So for example, if you see in 2008, right? In 2008, if I just do this order by date edit, okay, year edit, my bad, uh, date year. Okay, so if you see in 2008 there is only one movie, right? In 2011 there are multiple movies, right? If you see there are multiple movies. Now, if you see one interesting thing here, the interesting thing is there's only one movie, right? There is only one movie. Still, we are getting row number as 1, 2, 3 because row number doesn't repeat. It will give you the unique values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So, what I will do, let me do this. I will say number of movies descending. Okay, this will give me more clear picture. Okay, so if you see in 2008, there is only one movie. In 2009, there is only one movie again by all of the directors, right? If you go down, there are very few directors which have multiple movies. So for example, this director has two movies, right? And if I go further down, see some of the directors has four movies, right? So now when there is a tie, what we want to do, so for example, in 2011, if you see in 2011 there are directors who have one movies only. Now one more thing is we have not put the filter of movies because we want to see number of movies only again. So if you see which director has maximum number of movies released, so we have to put that filter, we missed it, where type equal to movie. Okay, and let's run this again. Okay, so now if you see again, we have put the filter and most of the directors have created one movie only. So 2009 there were two movies released, right? And two movies released and date year is 2009 2009 only, right? So now which one we should put? Now we can, it depends, right? Row number is giving you 1 2, but in case of tie what we can say, give me as per the alphabetical order. So I will say comma director. Okay, so if I do this, director with lower SKI value J will come first, right? He will get rank 1, so that we don't have a tie. Okay, so if I do this, rank 1, now see rank 1 and 2. Now in 2010, rank 1. 2011, if you see rank 1 2 3 we are getting, right? Now if we go down little bit where we have more number of movies by directors. So here, if you see in 2015, these two directors have two movies. So we will pick the one with lesser, with the sky value of their name coming first, right? So now we can just say comma ct2 as this, select star from ct2 where rn equal to 1. So this will give me in each year which director has maximum number of movie created. Again some issue. Okay, order by is not allowed in the ct or subquery, so let's remove it and let's run it again. Okay, so this is done. Now each year we will have only one record, right? Because I have done partition by year. So this guy Rajiv Chilaka has done how many movies? 17 movies, right? 17 movies in 2021. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. So next question is, what is the average duration of movie in each genre, right? So select star from movies again, sorry, Netflix. Okay. Netflix. Okay. Okay, so we have to find average duration of movies. Again, I have to put a filter for movies. Again, I'm only interested in movies where type equal to movie. Okay, where type equal to movie, and I'm going to run this again. Okay, now if you see average duration, so now the duration is a varchar column and we have minute also in that, right? So we can't find just like that average, right? Because it is a varchar column. But if you see everywhere it is minute, right? For the movies it is whatever is the duration in minute. So what we can do, we can remove the minute. So I will say replace in duration, replace what? Replace space minute with empty as duration int. Okay, so if I just run this, you see I am getting duration without the minute. Now I have to, it is still a varchar column, so I will say cast it as integer, as int, right? And if I run it again, I got the duration in int. Now what I need in each genre, so obviously I have to join it with genre, right? Because I don't know the genre here. So Netflix genre ng on and dot show id equal to ng dot show id. Okay, and now I have the genre information. So ng dot genre, and I can just take average of this. I'll say give me average of, or if I just run just like this, and if you want to see the result, you will get it. This is for different movies, right? If I just take show id here and dot, right, and you will get all the data which is required. So we have the show id, genre, and the duration. And what I need to do, I need to just do this. So remove this and average of this as average duration. Let's call it average duration and group by and sorry ng dot genre. Okay, so if I run this will answer my question, right? So this is the average duration of different genre for the movies. Let's move on to the last question. Last question says, find a list of directors who have created horror and comedy movies both, right? So we need to find the directors who have created horror and comedy, because it is unlikely that any director can create comedy and horror both, but there might be some directors, so we have to find it out, right? Display the director names along with number of comedy and horror movies directed by them, right? So again, select star from Netflix where, first of all, I will set type equal to movie. Okay, so we have to see only the movie. Second thing is, we are interested only in horror movies and comedy movies. So I will filter that as well. So I'll say select distinct from genre, uh, group by genre. Okay, and order by genre. Okay, so let's see how to find the horror and comedy movies. So comedies will be like this, comedies, and horror will be somewhere on top. A B C D E F G B C D E F G horror movies. Okay, so this is the two genres we need. Okay, so what I'll do again, I'll join with the genre table in a join Netflix genre ng on and dot show id equal to ng dot show id. Okay, this is the first thing, and I'll say where type equal to movie and ng dot genre. I'm interested in only these two genres. I'll just put it right. So comedies. So first of all, it will filter data only for horror movies and the comedy movies. This is the first thing I needed, right? So this will do. So I don't need this now. Okay, so this is the filter we are doing. Now we have to find directors who have created horror and comedy movies both, right? Now here the thing is we need the director details as well, right? So let's join with the director now. In a join Netflix underscore directors and d on n dot show id equal to nd dot show id, right? So I will get the director details as well. So I'll say nd dot directors, right? Now I need to filter those who have created both, right? So I'll say again same kind of, we have the first question, right? Group by nd dot director having count of distinct genre ng dot genre is greater than, because we have filtered only for comedy and horror. So if someone has created both, right, a director, so distinct genre will be 2, or I can say 2 directly instead of greater than 1, right? Because it is, we have filtered only for these two genres. So if they have created movies in both the genres, they will come, right? So if I just run this, so these are the directors, 55 directors who have created movies in both. Now now what I have to do, I have to find number of comedy and horror movies directed by them. So I have to put again case statement. So I will say case when genre equal to comedies, then show underscore id and as number of comedy, right? And I'll just say distinct and I'll put count. Okay, count distinct case when nd dot genre comedies, then let's call it nd dot n dot show id. This is number of comedy movies and this is number of horror movies. Okay, and I'll just say horror movies. We will just verify the answer as well once. So this is done, and yeah, that's it. So let's do it. Okay, so these are the different directors who have created this different kind of movies. Let's verify with one of the examples. So here we are saying that this director has created five number of comedy movies and one number of horror movies. Right? So let's see. So I'll say select show underscore id from Netflix director. Let me copy this so that we can verify our answer. Okay. Directors where director equal to this guy. Right? So these are the shows, and for these shows we will check in the genre table. Select stuff from Netflix. My bad. Channel where show underscore ID in. So we are taking all the show ID of this director, right? And let's see. So if you see, let me do a order by channel, right? So this guy has done five comedy movies, right? That's what we are seeing in the answer, and one horror movie. So this guy has done both comedy and horror, and there are five comedies, one horror, right? So our answer is correct. Okay, so this ends the project. This is really the useful project. If you want to do, I will put everything in the description box, right? Make sure you put it on the LinkedIn and tag me. I'll try to comment on it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Please like the video, share the video. Have a good day.